Hi everyone and welcome back to another video. I know it's been a while since I've uploaded, but students recently asked me if I could make a video regarding capture-recapture problems from the HSC Standard 2 course from the topic of rates and ratio, or rates and ratios I should say. So let's have a quick look at one of these past HSC paper questions. So question 4 from the 2022 HSC paper. Lily wanted to estimate the number of fish in a lake, so she randomly captured 30 fish, then tagged and released them. 1 week later, she randomly captured 40 fish from the same lake, and she found that 12 of those 40 fish were tagged. So what is the best estimate for the total number of fish in the lake? Okay, so right off the bat, the fact that this is in the topic of rates and ratios basically tells us that we need to do one thing, and that's going to be to establish a rate or a ratio. And in this case, we're going to be looking at a ratio. And that ratio that we're going to be looking at is the number of tagged, oops, can't spell there. So the number of tagged over the population. And now, whether that population is the sample population or the total population, that doesn't really matter. That only matters for the context of each section where we're given information. So let's look at this second section of information given over here. It says 1 week later, she randomly captured 40 fish from the same lake, and she found that 12 of those 40 fish were tagged. So that's a sample population of 40 fish, and we know that 12 of them were tagged. So right off the bat now as well, we can say that this number of tagged fish over the population, it doesn't matter whether it's a sample population or the total population, it must equal the same ratio. So that means that we can set this 12 over 40 equal to, now we look back at our first section here. So she randomly captured 30 fish, then tagged and released them. So is that going to be the total population or the number of tagged? That will, of course, be the number of fish tagged. And the total population, therefore, we don't actually know. And that is what this question is asking us to determine. So now we just need to observe and solve for x using this section here. So now we have 12 over 40 equals 30 over x. Tell you what, let's just make life a little bit easier. Let's move the x to the left-hand side and let's just flip these fractions. So that way we've got x over 30 equals 40 over 12. Fantastic. Okay, so let's solve for x. So we'll end up by multiplying both sides by 30, and then we can cross that out from the left, and now we'll get x equals, so 40 times by 30, that's going to be 1200 over 12, which of course will simplify to just become 100. And that is going to be our answer here for question 4 of the 2022 HSC. It would be D. Okay, so again, the main idea of this topic is to come back to the rates and ratios aspect of it, create a ratio, so in this case, the number of tagged over the population, and whether that's the sample population or the total population, that only matters in the context of the question. And then we just go through and we set those ratios equal to each other, and then we'll solve for x. Okay, let's have another go at another problem. So this is a question that I've had to write up because unfortunately the HSC doesn't have too many of these problems. So a zoologist captures and tags 25 kangaroos from a national park. 1 week later, they return and capture 30 kangaroos, of which 2 were tagged. What is the estimated population of kangaroos in the national park? Okay, so just like the previous question, we need to look at establishing a ratio. So once again, I'll quickly write it out. So we have the number of tagged animals over the population, and again, whether that's sample or total matters on the context. So what we can say is now the number of tagged, let's look, they return and capture 30 kangaroos, of which 2 were tagged. So that means there's 2 kangaroos tagged out of 30 for that sample population that we've captured the second time, and we're going to set that that is equal to the total number of tagged kangaroos, which was 25, over the total population, which is going to be x. Okay, again, we separate this section out and we'll rewrite it as x over 25 equals 30 over 2. Okay, fantastic. So now if we quickly solve this, x is going to be equal to 15 times by 25. So we'll end up with 375. And that I get just from multiplying both sides by 25. And I know that 30 over 2 is the same thing as saying 15. So therefore we end up with a total population of kangaroos of 375. Okay, let's look at one more final question for today. So a park ranger catches and tags 12 goannas. 1 month later, he returns and captures 20 goannas, of which 4 are tagged. What is the estimated population of goannas in the park? Okay, so hopefully you're starting to get the idea now, and we recognize that we want to look for that second section first, where they're giving us the number of tagged over the sample population. And so we're going to get the ratio of 4 tagged over the total sample population of 20. And now we can say that that ratio must be equal to the total number of goannas that have been tagged over the total population. So 12 over x. Okay, again, flip both fractions and we'll just write this term on the left. So we end up with x on 12 equals 20 on 4. 20 on 4, I know that we can quickly simplify that as 5. And now solving for x by multiplying both sides by 12, we'll end up getting x equals 5 times 12 is 60. And that is the total population of goannas in this national park here. Okay, so that concludes today's short little video. Hopefully you found that useful. If you did, please leave a like and subscribe. And if you have any more questions or particular topics, doesn't matter what year, what level of content, the difficulty of the questions, please let me know and I'm happy to make a video on it.